Welcome to the emergence of complex societies in South Asia. So for this micro lecture, we are going to do a brief introduction into the Indus River Valley civilizations. So like agricultural societies in Mesopotamia and Egypt, the Indus civilization was also established in the valley of a major river. That major river is going to be the Indus River. The Indus River Valley is going to allow for large-scale irrigation. We're going to have the same pattern that we've had throughout our other early world civilizations like Mesopotamia, like Egypt, in that because we have these waters that are allowing for large-scale irrigation, anytime we have large-scale irrigation, we're also going to see an increase in the available food supply. Anytime we see an increase in the available food supply, we're also going to see population grow. As population increases, we're going to see a shift from Neolithic villages that evolve to thriving cities. So the patterns are going to remain the same. We make that shift to agriculture. When we make the shift to agriculture, we're already near a major body of water. That's going to yield large-scale irrigation. That yields or gives us an agricultural increase, so surplus agricultural food crops. That's always going to lead to population growth. And because of that population growth, we're going to see the evolution of these thriving cities. Now, when it comes to the development of Indus River Valley civilizations, we don't know a lot, and that's for two reasons. The first reason that we don't know a lot about these Indus River Valley civilizations is because many of the earliest Indus physical remains are inaccessible. So silt, S-I-L-T, deposits have raised the level of land in the Indus Valley. Consequently, the water table has risen. So because the earliest Indus remains are below the water table, that's going to mean that archaeologists cannot excavate them or study them. The earliest remains that we have concerning the Indus River Valley civilizations date from about 2500 BCE. And we know that by that time, Indus society was already well established. So we lack any information that predates that 2500 BCE era. And scholars believe that what we have access to, 2500 BCE forward, is going to represent the Indus River Valley civilizations at their apex, at their high point. But it doesn't give us information about the early days or conditions of life in earlier time periods that predate 2500 BCE. The second problem that scholars have when it comes to studying the Indus River Valley civilizations is that they lack deciphered written records. So the Indus River Valley had a system of writing that used about 400 symbols to represent sounds and words. And archaeologists have discovered thousands of clay seals, copper tablets, and other artifacts with Indus inscriptions. Some scholars believe that the early inscriptions are related to Dravidian, which is a language that is spoken mostly in southern India, but they still have not been able to decipher the script. So you have two reasons that make it pretty impossible to follow the development of early Indus societies, and that's going to be one, the earliest Indus physical remains are inaccessible because they are below the water table, and archaeologists have not been able to excavate. I've said that wrong like 1,200 times in one 4-minute lecture. Excavate, there you go. They haven't been able to unearth. How about that? Unearth. U-N-E-A-R-T-H. Dig up, unearth the physical remains. And then your second reason is that we lack deciphered written records. So, lovies, that is the conclusion of this introductory micro lecture on the Indus River Valley civilizations. I will see you soon again for a micro lecture that will introduce Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa as our earliest civilizations. Those earliest civilizations, historians, archaeologists didn't even know that these Indus River Valley civilizations existed until like 1920 our time, so like less than 100 years ago. And during that time, they found several sites. They found about 1,500 Indus settlements, but none of them were the magnitude, the size of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro. So we'll save that for our next micro lecture. I will see you soon again. Bye.